So there's all kinds of hidden expenses that can totally wreck your retirement, and I think we need to be aware of them and talk about them a little bit. So we're going to talk about today just a few things that I dug up and have seen mentioned in other places. But not being prepared for retirement financially is obviously a devastating situation to be in, and nobody likes to have to plan for these things. It's stressful. It can be overwhelming, but you really have to, and you need to understand where these expenses come in from too. And part of that is you need to know how much is enough to save and make sure that you're prepared to retire to begin with, because a lot of people go into this thinking that they have all kinds of money to work with, and then they turns out that they don't. So we're going to talk about some of those things as well. But what people don't necessarily notice and understand is that the current cost of living has gone up dramatically. I'm trying to find an angle where you don't see all the Walmart crap behind me. Because, yeah, I shop at Walmart because the freaking economy sucks right now, right? But anyway, the average cost of living right now, month to month, is between $2,500 and $3,500. And that's supposed to include housing, food, gas, electricity, possibly internet, etc. And I got this off of a website. I can't remember exactly which one. You can Google up the average cost of living 2025, and it'll give you month-to-month numbers for different. And everything, of course, is based on state. So if your state's a little bit better tax-friendly, is better pricing with groceries, etc., you're obviously not going to spend as much money as some. So that might put you in the 2,500 range versus 3,500 if you're trying to do it elsewhere. And if you're trying to do it in the most expensive states that we talked about before, such as Hawaii, Alaska, California, New York, it's gonna be more than the 3,500. But one of the biggest expenses that people don't account for and aren't prepared for is the cost of the average when it comes to healthcare expenses. Now, what I found is that $6,700 a year is the average cost of healthcare if you are in a employer provided insurance plan. But if you're retired and you're on all the other things, Medicare, Medicaid, yada, 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 you can expect to pay $6,500 a year per person. Now that's over $1,000 a month. And that can add greatly to this $2,500 or $3,500 a month you have in standard living expenses. So part of the number has to work out to be, what is your cost of living going to be, and what are you planning to do with your retirement that's going to change those expenses? And we've talked about this several times before in different ways, but the hobbies that you plan to have while you're retired, the travel plans you have, the cost of living based on the area you live in, all those things can drive up prices or bring prices down. And of course, as you get older, those prices will lower to some degree because you're not going to be as active. But if you're going to plan to do some traveling, or you're going to visit family and friends that are going to require some traveling, if you're going to do international travel, those things add up pretty quickly. If you have expensive hobbies, I've mentioned this before, golf is a great sport. It can be a lot of fun, but it's an expensive hobby. Now, I know folks that are retired and they snowbird in Florida, and they're people that I've worked with in the past, and they are on golf leagues in Florida and play all year round down there, and then come back to Northern Illinois during the summer season up here. But down there, they join clubs that are, affordable, not necessarily country clubs, but golf clubs, or buy golf passes. That way they play for relatively pennies on the dollar, considering, up here in Northern Illinois, the golf season's just getting underway again, and they're running $13 specials for 9 holes and sometimes 18 holes if you walk. But down in Florida, they run specials like that all year round because they need to keep people on the course all year round, because they have to maintain it all year round. So they run specials, especially if you're going to walk or have your own cart. Those are things that you need to be considering, and what your personal priorities are going to be based on what your retirement vision is going to look like. And then the next thing to do is to go through your budget and figure out what your monthly expenses are truly going to be, how much you're going to need, whether that's $4,000 a month, $5,000, $6,000. Then line up your assets to make sure that you can cover those expenses, so that you don't get hit by one of these wrecking ball things like a unpaid insurance bill, or uncovered expense, or a major car problem or house problem where you are not prepared for it financially. And so some of the big things you can do with that too is then I would encourage you always to seek out a financial planner that's an expert in these things, and they can talk you through diversifying your funds, making sure that you have assets allocated in areas where you can get to them, or long-term strategies. All those things play a part in figuring out what kind of income you're going to be working with. And then you can discuss with them too the ongoing savings you need to do, how compounding your interest is going to work, and how you can get there quicker. If you're still in the runway, like I am, ramping up to retire in the next couple of years, you have time to double down on your savings and to try to take advantage of this compounding interest effect. And then last, I would say too, is that don't discount inflation and don't overestimate what you're going to make on your money. Even making 5% is better than zero. And putting money in high yield savings account, etc., can get you there at least. And last but not least, I just want to call out AARP. They have tons of different calculators on there. If you just click on the retirement on that page, and it will take you to calculators to help you figure out where your money's going, how much it can grow, how long your budgets can last. It can help you figure out a budget. A lot of great tools on there that are free to use. You can sign up, obviously, if you want, but they're free to use otherwise. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.